Good morning from Australia. G'day viewers. So today we're going to Alaska. Let me just turn the game down a little bit because I think it's louder than me right now, and I'll turn it back up when we start playing. I've got some new subscribers this week, so welcome to Mario, David, Gorav, Anthony, Stephen, and my serial unsubscriber and resubscriber who I think likes getting his name mentioned every week. So here we go again. Hi Wolfgang. Anyway, we're all up and running. We're going to Alaska today. We're in TS 2021. Quite interested to see that TS 2022 has been announced. There's absolutely no announcement of what it is, although there's some routes coming with it that's been announced, but I have half of them. I'll be curious to see if the game itself has changed, because if the game hasn't changed, probably won't buy it, because I won't need it, because it'll update by it anyway. But that's life. But anyway, let's get into it. So I'll just turn the game back up a little bit again so we can hear it. Hopefully that's coming through now. It looks like it is. And we're going to go off to Alaska. So I've picked a couple of community scenarios for this one out of Workshop. The first one is called A Heavy Problem at Portage. And essentially we're loading gravel in a quiet backwater when suddenly the radio spoils your day. Basically we're going to go and rescue another train. So this is kind of cool. So let's get this going, and while it goes, I've always been quite interested in Alaska and the Alaska Railroad. We probably all watch the TV show, and I'm sure that's drama built for the sake of drama, because that's what reality TV shows do. They can invent drama where there's none at all. I was amused to note this morning after my machine rebuild of a few weeks ago that I had neglected to put fast load back on for TS, so I've been sitting here waiting for minutes forever. Alright. It's a little loud. Let's bring that down a little bit. Okay, so this is from our dispatcher. Give me a call when you finish loading the gondolas and we'll try and find you a slot. The line is busy and you may have to wait. So we appear to be loading some gondolas down there. That's cool. All right, let's get this train set up. To reverse. And we should just start rolling backwards now, because it's on a grade. Who puts a loading ramp on a grade? Seriously. Well, the brakes aren't releasing yet, so time will come. There we go. Down goes the white needle. Of course it's raining. When I was trying to play this on Friday just to make sure it works okay, I was having a lot of trouble with my FreeCam and CabCam until I realized that I still had the OpenTrack software installed. And then I remembered, because I haven't used TS for a little while, that you actually have to uninstall that software or it listens to the tracker instead of your keys, which is kind of sad, but that's okay. All right, let's get this first one loaded. Nice brake squeal. We're loading the gondola with fine mist. It's interesting that that fine mist turns into that, isn't it? That one's done. I'm glad we're not having to load all of it, because I don't think it would actually fit and it would couple up with the other train. And of course you can hear something massive coming in the background, like bees. There's our trainload of bees, doing about 50 mile an hour by the looks of it. And naturally, when they get up there, they'll stop dead. But we better go back to our gondola because it might not be under the loader anymore. Oh no, it hasn't moved that far yet. We're safe. Just wait for it to come to a stop. Loading up some more fine mist. I always love it when people go to the trouble of making workshop scenarios. I've made a couple. It's a fun experience. This guy's done some stuff that I don't know how to do, so you can be sure I'm going to pick them apart and learn how he did it. He or she, actually, I have no idea. Anyway, dispatch to 2001, so that would be us. Please stop loading now and drop all gondolas there. We need you to head north and stop at Portage Snowfleet Siding. We have a problem at Portage Junction, and you may be able to assist. All traffic has been stopped, and you have a block clearance until further notice. Isn't that nice? Alright, let's get some handbrakes on. That'll do. Is it going to let me uncouple from... Oh, look at that, it did. I often have trouble getting it to uncouple from the uncouple menu. Off we go. Oh, maybe we need some windscreen wipers. Maybe we need some windscreen wipers. There we go, second go.
Yeah, I do too.
Yep, going too fast. Oh no, someone will punish me. This is an older model, so you can't open the windows or anything. Some of the newer stuff that comes out in TS now, you can do all sorts of nice stuff. Actually, I just noticed the numbers on the throttle and dynamic brake are working today. They were just black squares when I played it on Friday. It's one of the amusing things about this game is it's got so many bugs. With bad pointer references and things would be my guess, given it's written in C++. That it does unpredictable stuff. Which kind of makes it fun. Till it explodes. Bye bye people, you might be there for a while. Alaska is one of the few US states that I didn't visit when I left there and haven't visited on return visits. It's on my one-day list though. I'd actually, and this is probably strange, I'd like to go there at the end of winter. Just when the thaw's starting. Because I think it would be quite interesting. And very cold, probably. Why has my... Have the apartment people got your new fridge in yet, mate?
Well, he came yesterday, but it needs a part, and we'll have to come back for it with on Tuesday.
Yeah, that sounds normal, doesn't it? Even if they have got the part, they won't say so. I'm pushing out today at 2K at 60 frames per second. In the past, I've done 1080p at 30 frames per second, so...
Well, he wouldn't have known what the problem was anyways, so likely wouldn't have had the part.
That's true. But curious to get feedback on the stream quality, if it's worth going to the effort of pushing it out at 2K. Because essentially I have to be a bit nasty with my local residents who live here with me, namely my family, and go, don't use the internet. Well, not much anyway. We discovered yesterday that 3 people can simultaneously watch YouTube, and I still managed to push out at this rate. It wasn't until the 4th person started doing it that there were problems.
Like last night?
Yep. Yes. Although watching it back, it looked like the stream quality didn't suffer all that much as the error messages popping up on YouTube would have suggested it. I'm just going to fly up in the air a little bit, because for TS 2021, I mean, it's pretty primitive software, but this scenery is quite nice. Probably works better because it's foggy. Should probably go back to that train now, though. Because he's not that far off where he needs to go. You wouldn't think you were next to a great big rail yard at this point. Bang on the treble. Coming up there. And show task, we have to go up here to the siding, and the points are not aligned for us. Better fix that. Alright. Four miles to our little siding. You have the lovely Serenity, and then Locomotive 2001 comes along and shatters it. Welcome along to the people who have just joined in the view. So this morning we're playing a scenario in Alaska, and we're currently off to rescue a broken down train. Enjoying the Alaskan wilderness. And you can't see her, but I'm watching one of my cats. We have some little cactus sitting on the windowsill getting some light. And for the second day in a row, she's walked up and sniffed it and got a poke in her nose and gone, oh. Not demonstrating good learning ability. And if the viewers who are watching it,
Cats learned.
I think they eventually do, but this one's not good at it. And for the people who are watching, if you're new to the channel, the second voice is Michael, who often joins me in a live chat while we do the stream. Two and a half miles to go. Ooh, I could probably go a little bit faster too, couldn't I? I was too busy watching the scenery. Maybe I should drive the train. Happy Father's Day to anyone who celebrates today. I'm not sure if it's unique to Australia that we do Father's Day today. I know the US does it on a different day. Have to confess I haven't exactly done my research. Stop raining. Cruising along. We're almost at the first place that we have to stop. I do love the water in TS 2021. There's so much better about the graphics in Train Sim World, which is the natural successor to this game. But man, does it have awful water. Back in the rain again. The brakes are amazingly awful on this, given it's a single locomotive. And even if I release the train brake and use the independent, still awful. So you can't tell me with 60 pounds on it wouldn't just stop dead, because it would. It will stop in time, though. That's the important thing. I'm not really sure why the scenario wants you to stop here, because you don't do anything, but we'll do it. And we are, of course, really annoying all these drivers right now, because we're going to pull up to a crossing and stop. That's okay. I suppose we could imagine in our roleplay that we're picking up another crew member or something. It's amazing how much traffic there is for Alaska. So, we have a very heavy train suffered an electrical fire and both locos are unserviceable. And it's blocking the junction at Portage. We need you to couple to it and attempt to move it off the junction and into Portage Whittier Yard 2. Check all switches. Alright then. That kind of check all switches message is the kind of thing that I put on my scenarios when I can't figure out how to set the switches myself, so I'm glad there's someone else like me. Sometimes it seems to work in the game and sometimes not. Just have to linger there and appreciate those reflections. Now, since we were warned to check all the points, let's go and do that. So that would appear to be set. That is set. And we need to go into by the Y. And then we have to go into Whittier Yard 2, which is that one. There we go. That should have us set. Oh, speeding again. Whatever will I do? It's only 1.5 times the speed limit, officer. Better slow down though, it'll derail me on the points up here. Not that I've ever actually had Train Simulator do that, but, you know, you don't want today to be the day.
There's always a first.
That is very true. Reverse back and couple up. The mechanics will give you a full brake control and ask that you stop and drop the 2 crippled locos on Portage Whittier Branch. Let's just figure out where Portage Whittier Branch is. I assume it's here, so we want to put them there before we go into the siding. That is fine. Okay, back we go. And there's our busted train just up there. Just while that's heading up there to couple. Oops, I went through the locomotive. Good camera control. If you come all the way up here, while that one's heading up there, to the locos up here, which are on this trestle bridge. Zoom back. The cool thing about these is they are actually cold and dark. They are making a little bit of smoke, but not their usual amount. And everything's off. And I don't know how you do that in a scenario, so I'm certainly going to pick that apart and figure it out. I guess I forgot to change the points. Yep, that'd be me. Dope. Yeah, little train. Stop. That's when the guy in the ute's having a bit of a giggle. Having a bit of a giggle now. Oh, I just wanted people to appreciate the wilderness a little more. Yeah, there's another work guy hiding over there in the trees. Yes, you. We're looking at you. He's probably having a slash. Poor guy. All I wanted was a quiet moment, and someone put me on TV.
Can only imagine what he's up to.
What else would you do standing in a bunch of trees off by yourself? It did say check all points, I just ignored it.
We'll leave it to everyone else's imagination.
That seems like a good idea. I'm gonna get run over by my own train now. Come up to where we have to couple in, or couple on, or couple up, depending on your local nomenclature. It does look like people in high vis vest, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When... How many people are needed to do that job? 1. And how did they all get there? There'd only be... Would there be 4 seats in that car? Maybe there's 5 in that. In the King Cab Ute there. Or pickup truck, as I'm sure Americans would call it.
2 are probably the train crew.
Yeah, possibly. And the other 3 are the chief arm folders. Alright then, it is a fairly long train. No handbrakes on. And in lieu of any instructions, we'll just leave. And it's a good thing it's on a flat grade, or this little locomotive wouldn't be moving it. Just make sure I've got the right place that it wants me to stop. Yep. Everybody who's watching has to fold their arms when he does. Just as a little bit as a safety moment for someone who does work on a real railway. There he goes, arms folded. Never stand with your back to a moving train, because something will whack you in the head. I need to calibrate my rail driver. I just noticed the brakes were still on then. Thank you, Brake Squeal, for letting me know. Given we're about the right head height with this guy, it's amazing how big these things actually are. The instructions in this scenario aren't brilliant at this point, but having learnt from my mistake when I played it before, I'm going to stop with the locos on the main and uncouple them, so I can actually do the next bit that it wants. Just make sure I set the points at the other end of this siding. Yeah, they're fine. I think I can see our two locomotives in the distance there. Seem to be a couple of pixels of blue and yellow. I guess that's them. Bit of timber. Some invisible timber. This is the reality of railways. Lots of hurry up and wait. Inside his car now. My mouse is too sensitive. Okay. So we drop the 2 locos. So you notice it gives me an instruction to what to do after dropping the 2 locos, but not to actually drop the 2 locos. And now just wait for the brakes to come off and for that to move. Would help if my rail driver went back to 0. Oi, I uncoupled you. I know I did. It must have rolled back and coupled up again, I guess. That would be reality. Just ride the back of this train in now so we know it's gotten into the siding. You can't, well, you can almost train surf it. There we go. Bit of wilderness train surfing. Why not? I'll probably get comments now. You shouldn't condone train surfing. Nearly there. That's why I set the points at the other end, is because I'm not quite sure if the train will poke out the other end when this one clears these points up here. Yeah, that stopped a bit quicker than I thought it would. Just pull it up a little bit further, because it's still foul. While we listen to the gentle and soothing sounds of rain. Now it wants to go on Portage Whittier Road 1, which is the other one. So let's set those points and then we can go back up to the front. Yeah, look at that, it fits. Okay. Pop on some handbrakes. Should have done some at the other end while we were up there. But trains don't really roll away here, so that's okay. Let me uncouple. All right. Oi. That's twice.
Oh.
I love that it lets you uncouple when it's starting to pull like that too. Not a chance in hell you could actually do that. You pull that lever with all your might and absolutely nothing would happen. And back we go. Couple up to the two cripples and head to Bear Valley, where you may have to wait for the two replacing locos to pass. Well, it depends how slow I've been. Old mate in the cab there's having some fun. Looks like he's bopping away to his favourite music. Speeding again. Whatever will they do? Yeah, they're completely dead.
Just a warning, did you change that switch?
Yes. Yeah, I changed it before I went down the front. Interestingly, with the way stream delays work, your warning came just as I went through the switch, I think.
Yeah, I left it a little too long before I said something.
That's alright. Now we have to go via Block Coho West, which I think is the main line. Let's just have a look. Yeah, it is. So we have to come and set this switch. And just to make it a little bit more realistic, we'll set the other one when we get down to the other end. It's vaguely funnier that it's harder to move these two locos by themselves than the whole train. Yeah, leaving Earthquake and entering Coho. Don't want to build up too much speed since I have to stop down the bottom. So we can do that switch. And if I keep saying that, I might actually remember to do it. Actually, if it's a two-track mainline, I might not have anything to do. I can't remember if it's one or two tracks down here. We shall see in a moment. No, it's single tracks, we will have to stop. Yay for Zoom. If only you could do that in real life. Nearly there. And then we can make a quick run down to the dock. Yeah, look at that. The scenario must have done it. It is a line for us. Cool. Off we go then. Now, where are we off to? Bear Valley. Up there. And track is set for us at both ends. Just for people who haven't played before, what I'm looking for is the direction that the track is set. So you can see by the coloured line, which in this case is brown, because we haven't gone through this This is interesting. It should be blue. Okay. But anyway, normally it would be blue, showing your path. It usually only shows brown when it's not on your path because you haven't gone through a waypoint yet. But back to the train. And going too fast, of course. But care factor is low. Oh, there's another difference. My instrument lights are on today. It's good. Must be clouds passing over our head. It's vaguely amusing that the ancient diesel went and rescued the two new ones. Does always seem to be the way, though, that when there's a choice in locomotives, if you've got a broken down train somewhere, you find the oldest possible thing to go and get it. Wonder what the fishing's like in the river. Any fish? Oh, you can't get into this water. Bit of drone action. It's interesting, you know how big trains are, and then you realise how big this landscape is. Could be here for a while. bring the train here a bit quicker. Be a bit more naughty than we have been. Can just see it now. This is the standard railfan thing where you go somewhere in the middle of nowhere and you stand there for 6 hours waiting for a train, and it comes and you get 2 shots and it's all over. And of course it rains after you've waited all that time. Into the tunnel. And as Jake once said, I see the light. Always good to have dinner. Friends meeting in the bush. It's interesting that one's got a crew in it, given it's going that way. Cleared through all blocks to Whittier Mountain, because these 2 locos have arrived. And drop the 2 locos on Whittier Mountain, where you'll see the mechanics waiting to park up on Whittier Lower Main. Alright, let's just pop into the map. Make sure the scenario hasn't done anything silly with the points. And we now have a blue line for our path, which is good. And let's just see where we're going. We're going to Whittier Mountain, which is a go via point there. That point is set correctly. That one is not. We'll fix that. That one is not. That one is. And that one is. Okay, we'll have a straight run in there now. Let's head over here. Bit of a railfan moment. I don't think we'll get to see the other ones leave. Actually, maybe if I set their points, they will. So let's just do that. Oops. Apologies. I'm not sure if they actually go or not. Or if they just sit there if they're static. Looks like they're just static. Alright. 25 mile an hour for 4.5 miles. Sounds a bit slow, really. So what's on for dinner today, Michael? Is the big tunnel through that? I had you turned down a bit too much then. Did you say chicken stew? I thought I heard. This tunnel's a bit unique in that it's both a road tunnel and a railway tunnel.
Yep.
Cool, sounds good. And it's controlled from a control room so that we don't end up with having trains and vehicles in here at the same time. It's a very long tunnel. I wonder if they ever have had a train and a vehicle in it at the same time. It's one of those unusual things that common sense prevailed, because most places would insist on building 2 tunnels. I'd jump into the other cab for a different view, but having tried that, it doesn't go well, so we'll just sit here. I wonder if the weather's different on the other side of the tunnel. It was something I always noticed living in the Bay Area, because I worked in a town called Concord, or Concord, as the locals called it, and lived in originally Oakland and then Berkeley. And coming through the Highway 24 tunnel, the weather was always dramatically different on one side from the other. It was 20 degrees Celsius cooler on the bay side. This is that situation where you're cruising through the tunnel and you always hope the light at the other end is the opening and not another train. It would be just a little bit messy to have a head-on in here. You know, whenever you watch Alaska Railroad on TV, this tunnel lasts for about 2 seconds. one bit of reality they don't want to show, I guess. Hard to invent drama inside a tunnel.
Can't blame them.
I don't know why it is, but I always prefer driving the GP38s and 40s over them. Don't know why, just do. Which is weird given this thing mirrors the control station in one of those. That looks like the end of a tunnel. Yay! We'll pop out in Whittier Yard shortly and drop these locomotives off. So this particular scenario hasn't got much longer to run, and then we will run the next one. Which, interestingly, when I first picked it, there was no indication that it's a follow-on from this one.
Cool illusion.
Tunnel vision, you think, Michael? And we're out.
Yep.
I'm guessing that all that roadway there is for people lining up waiting to go into the tunnel because there's a train that's 5 miles long and it's taking an hour and a half to get through. I think I can see a gap in the mountain. There's a spot where you can see the sky through it. Coming into the port now. Oops, apparently I should be doing 15 here. Now, if I had that bit of the HUD on, I would have known that. We'll be stopping just up ahead, which is where I think this scenario finishes. Yep. Sounds like dinner's progressing there, Michael.
Very slowly.
It's because there's some bastard in Australia interfering with your work.
Just gotta keep going back every once in a while to stir.
And make sure it doesn't do what this locomotive did and catch fire. Nearly there.
I'd never let that happen.
I've never had anything on the stove catch fire. I've had stuff in the barbecue catch fire before. It's always exciting. Just slightly more charred than expected. Checked any of these bloody points. They are fine. That's interesting. There's a rail crossing there, but not on the line we're on. How does that work?
Maybe it's not meant to go across that track.
Guess so. And there we are. So this scenario is via a workshop user called Carinia.zip. It's vaguely amusing. Okay. So, go and have a break. Well, not really. We're going to drive the next part. We'll see if we can get you and your loco back home today. Thanks for driving. And I rated it before. Apparently you have to rate it again. So we'll do that. That's okay. Alright. Back to workshop. So... only completed 7 out of the 9 targets. How did that happen? I refueled, apparently. Okay. That's all right. Into workshop. So the next one we're going to play is by the same person. It's called Freight Shuffle at Whittier Barge. And funnily enough, we're in 2002 this time, so we're not in 2001. I thought it was the same loco. I was about to say we didn't get to go home. So we're going to be on yard duty. We're going to unload and reload the barge. Now this one, it's interesting, it's got the difficulty hard. It's not a hard task, but it's hard because of the way the person's done it. You'll see in a moment. It's a bit of a head do in type set of instructions in the way it works. Because instead of using tasks, which you can go back to and look at, it just pops up info boxes for you to do the jobs, which means if you forget what you're doing, you haven't got any chance to go back and have a look. Okay, we are having technical difficulties. Now, I kind of wonder, was that technical difficulties in getting this to work in this scenario? Maybe. So all your couple and drop off instructions will be via info panels like this one. So instead of the normal things, your task list will only be by go via or stop at instructions. Please start by hooking up to either rake of wagons on the barge and dropping them at Whittier Slip Runaround. So we know we're going to need to set them, so we will. We've got a couple of idler cars on, and we're going to be heading down there towards that little barge. So let's just check what the points are like at the barge. And we're set to go down the right-hand side by the looks of it, which will be fine. Because that's us there, these red things. So, reverse. Come on, headlights. Brakes off. Brakes really off. And off we go. Don't want to build up too much speed though, because guess what happens if you hit them too hard? Splash! Which, while it's kind of funny, doesn't really meet what the scenario wants. For anyone that's not looked at the Alaska Railway, the Alaska Railway technically goes through into the state of Washington. But there's no track. The trains all come on a barge. I've never ever looked at this, whether this is a lake that spans the states or an ocean going on. I couldn't imagine you'd take a barge like this out on the ocean. I think that would just be a little bit too scary. So I guess it must be a lake. I suppose I could look on maps and find out.
The ocean.
Oh, cool. It must be a scary ride. So the idler cars are used to avoid putting too much weight on the float bridge that connects to the barge.
They come up the coast from Seattle, so they follow the BC coastline up.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so we now have to go to Whittier Slip Runaround. Let's just jump on the map and let's see where that is. So it's right there. Which means we have to change these points and these points. And these points. And that puts us in the right spot. Good. You can see how close they get to the end. And there's no buffers or anything. You just... And having pushed them off, they just hit that and then bounce over. It's kind of funny. Alright, let's follow this guy out then. He's hoping I didn't reverse direction before, because I've just put it in reverse. We'll know in a minute. No, wrong way, wrong way, wrong way. Go the other way. That's better. I had already changed direction. That would have been funny. Let me just pretend we're riding the shunter's steps on the back here. I think it wants me to leave them there, but not 100% sure, so I won't unhook them just yet. Drop off the rake of wagons here, keeping the two flat cars coupled. Run around through Whittier Dock 4 and pick up the other rake. And couple them to the first rake on Whittier Slip Runaround. Let's just make sure we can go ahead. We can, and then we're going to go back that way. And we're going to set these points to pick up those ones. Good-o. I think I actually misinterpreted that instruction last time and then went and put the carriages over here, which was vaguely funny. Maybe I'll get it right this time. So it's a switch stand this side. Can't quite get into a useful position there. Alright, we'll ride this one. Back we go to the barge. Oops. It's funny when people look at the newer games like TSW2 and they complain about the graphics there, and I think you really should come and play this.
That corner there is probably about as tight as you can actually get on a railway. And still use full-size equipment anyway. Just hook up and pull out our second set. And we should be coupled. Now, let's just check our task. So we're going to stop at the runaround again. So we're going to come up here, up to there, and then back onto and put them on top of that set. That seems to make sense. We'll put those containers there. Recalibrate this rail driver as soon as I finish this run, because it's annoying to have sitting on 17% brake all the time instead of 0. Looks like we need branded containers in this game too, Michael. Only just turned up in the other one 20 years later.
Yeah, I don't know if that will happen. Would be nice.
Like having a remote controlled locomotive. There's a railway in Australia where the when they're shunting in yards and things, the drivers get out of the locomotive and they use a little remote control that's kind of like an industrial PlayStation controller. And they have to stay in range of the locomotive, because if they don't, it stops listening to them. Now after coupling, I'm going to have to push this set back a little bit because I'm pretty sure we need that set of points up there again and they'll be fouled. So even though it wants me to stop, we're actually not going to. Move these ahead to the Whittier shuttle runaround. Yeah, okay. Where's that? Whittier shuttle runaround. Well, that makes sense. Track's lined up for us. Let's go. It's just something about that guy that just screams redneck, doesn't it? I did research why there's all these boats over there. They pull them all out of the water for winter. I think we've had a train leave while we were doing this. And done. Move over to the oil track and couple the first 3 empties to the back. Now there's an ambivalent instruction. Pretty sure the last one said to leave them there, so we will. Let's just stop again while I check points and things. So we're all good to come out anyway, I think it looks like. It's interesting the blue line stops. I think it's because of the weird way the instructions are written. Anyway, we have to come out there. And then we have to go over to the Whittier oil track, which is this one. So we want to set that. And that. And that. But not that one yet, because we're on that track. think it's that one. Yep, that gets us all the way in there. Okay. Back we go. And maybe I should honk for the crossing this time. Or would that make it more obvious that I didn't last time? Did he get the points right? That's the question. That river goes uphill, have you noticed that?
Yeah, just looking at it now.
I mean, all rivers do go uphill, but if it was that steep, I would have thought it'd be more of a waterfall. I like that the person's put stops in here because it's realistic about hooking up brakes and things like that. And I think I might do that in my future scenarios that I build. So, one of the damaged locos. Comma instead of apostrophe. It's as bad as me. From the problem at Portage, has to go away for major repairs. The barge company require it to be in the centre of the barge owing to its weight. Couple it onto the next track over and then couple the two remaining tanks behind it. Okay. So we will be pulling forward again. We'll just trust that that train's going to stop. Probably will. And come couple up this fella. There'll be 3 cars remaining. Two cars. 1 car. Half a car. And coupled.
And crunch.
It was 4.1 mile an hour, that's alright. Alright. Forward we go. Those wheels aren't quite round. They're like saw blades. The wheels on the loco are quite nice. They're nicely round. And back we go. We'll come and get these. Or we won't, because the brakes didn't release. I suppose I could just stop whining about that and calibrate the rail driver since it happens in a separate app, but... it's a slight immersion killer. And 3 cars. Two cars. Braked a little bit earlier this time. Even I can learn. 1 car. Half a car. 3 meters, 2, 1. Red light coupled up. Ah, great, apparently. Great! We'll load these onto the barge. Away we go. You have to look at the reflection, don't you? I like the way you can see the cars through the bridge. That's kind of funny. It's like the bridge isn't there.
Looks a little odd.
A little. Now, let's just check our alignment back through there, because we don't want to hit that one. Go via track N. Except to go a little bit further ahead. Just a little bit. When we got to those points. Just while he's crawling through there, we can come back and check our alignment for everything else. Way down there. And we go through the runaround, which is that one, which is right. And that's right down to the end ramp, which is there. Have you still not gotten through the points? Maybe some power would be helpful. Yeah, we'll ride there. That'll do. I would almost bet that that crossing would be declared as a quiet crossing, because you probably wouldn't want that much honking around your yard, because you'd want to keep the honking around the yard for warning people trains are moving. Heading back down to the barge now, and I hope I got all of these things right. We'll soon know. Now, it's at this point that I would do something different in reality to what the scenario gets you to do too. Because the scenario gets you to come back and get these cars and put them on the barge. But that's inefficient shunting. Surely you'd grab them now. We're cruising to the barge. Whittier end ramps, that one. Actually, maybe it does want you to get them now. You know what? I'm going to do it. Even though it said after dropping this rate, come and get these, I am going to do it the way I want to do it, because I'm like that. The question is it both of them? It's probably only one of those sets, I think. So I'm not sure if I'm just reading my own interpretation into the instructions or not, but we can do it this way. Surely this is more fun. Come on back. Five cars. It's probably a bit more than five, actually. Parallax angles. Now it'll be five cars. Four cars. Three cars. No, even that's wrong. One car. And red light coupled up. Back up to the switch. You know, it says wheel slip there. It's almost looks like that loco's powering, even though it's dead. Just looking at the rail driver, it's 007, licensed to train. These must be pirate carriages. Arr! All right, now we'll take these back onto the barge. Let's see if we can sink it by putting a locomotive on it. So after we load all this stuff, we have to go back to Whittier Dock 4, wherever that is. Ah, there. Well, that would be convenient. Yeah, I could do this kind of shunting puzzle all day. They're kind of fun. I keep contemplating building routes to make the classic shunting puzzles. I've never built any shunting puzzles with scale model railways, but I have built them with Lego railways. Nice and slow coming back onto here. Containers do float for a little while, so you probably get them back. Too much. Actually, if you search for something like crane locomotive out of water in New Zealand, I think it's Waitopo. Someone did exactly that. They put 2 containers and a locomotive into the sea because the track that they went down was not the track where their ship was. Tiny bit more. Come on. Roll just a little bit more. Just a little bit. It's going to fit, isn't it? Little bit more. That'll do. Uncouple that one. Take them away. Just in case they didn't uncouple. Oh, you saw that recouple. Naughty.
You could quite clearly see that coupler was uncoupled and then it recoupled. That's just evil. It's funny that they use idler cars, but they're going to put this thing that's significantly heavier than the other loco onto the barge. Back we go. It actually looks like just moving the rail driver, that it actually goes through the 0 mark and then back to 17. Interesting. That set of 3 container wagons must have had some extra room on the back, because if it didn't, 5 tank wagons and a loco isn't going to fit. We'll know soon. Gonna have to look these barges up, because they must have keels if they're ocean going. Otherwise they'd flip over in the waves. That would be slightly embarrassing. Last car's coming onto the float bridge now. There's not much room left up there. Yeah, it'll fit.
Actually, not sure if it's a barge more than it. I think it's a ferry, actually.
Yeah. So it's motorized. Those other ones didn't fit by much, did they? I thought they must have some room on the back, but they don't. Nearly there. Nice snowy cap peaks reflected in the water. Wonder how they load the other tracks. They must move it over. And moving the barge to load the other tracks would be a accountant's answer. Because accountant 1 would not have to pay the capital cost of building the extra track in the extra float bridge. And some other accountant's problem would be to make it all happen. And that will do. Come on, you. That way. Did it fit? Yes. All right then. I don't think I put all the handbrakes on last time, but I will this time. Loco has no handbrake. Okay, off we go. Now we have to go that way. It's interesting it can still move with its brakes on. That's life. Too fast, apparently. And I think we're almost at the end of the scenario. But which would also be the end of the stream. So next week I expect to be Riesa Dresden on TSW2, assuming it actually does succeed in coming out next Thursday. Well, Friday my time, Thursday everybody else. Friday 3 AM usually. Not that I've ever gotten up and played a game at 3 o'clock in the morning. No, that wouldn't happen. Where's my brake noises? Oh, there they are. And that's probably the end of the scenario. Now the question is, did it let me tick everything off because I didn't do it the way it wanted to do it? We'll see. That scenario ends here. Scenario incomplete. Nah, didn't like the way I did it. That's okay, but I'll still give you a thumbs up. Alright then. Cool. Can drop the game sounds down now. So next week should be Riesa Dresden. Should come out on Thursday at about, I think, 6 PM UK time, something like that, which means 3 AM for me. And hopefully I'll get a bit of playtime in before I have to stream it. Not sure if I'll run it with PZB turned on. We'll see. It seemed to catch Matt out a few times, and he's supposedly an expert, whereas I'm a novice. But we'll see. I'm also hunting down a German friend of mine to help me translate all the stuff that the locomotive will be yelling at me. Now, I don't think there's actually any new locos in Riesa Dresden. I think it's all stuff we've had before, but it's all rebuilt, new sound. Lots of them have had graphic work done as well and lighting work. The lighting on the route looks really good, so I'm kind of looking forward to that in the nighttime routing, or nighttime lighting on the route. So we shall see. Anyway, folks, I hope you've enjoyed shuttling around Alaska down at the Whittier end of the railway. I thought about doing a big long run, and then I thought about sitting here for 6 hours because that's how long it takes, without a lot to talk about. I thought, no, let's do it this way. Cool. So thank you very much for watching. If you're watching it now or watching it later, drop a like. And if you haven't subscribed, that would be really cool. So thanks for watching. Bye now. I welcome any and all feedback. Feel free to comment on the video. Constructive criticism is welcome, especially if I've got something wrong. I stream every Sunday morning starting at 8:30 AM, and I also do ad hoc streams from time to time during the week. Please subscribe and click notify to avoid missing out. Subscribing helps me by helping me see what content is good and how it helps the channel grow, or doesn't as the case may be.